Appellate Judge Sullivan gave Bonjean 7 minutes for oral argument, 3 minutes for rebuttal, and yet he said 3 times of those 7 minutes, "Are you challenging jury instructions?" He changed inflection of his voice. He said it in different ways so she could get it, yet she still didn't see he was trying to help her. She stated very clearly no, she was not. So why did he bring it up a second time and a third time when she said each time, "I'm not challenging jury instructions"?
You're not challenging the jury instructions, so you're agreeing that everything the district court told the jury they needed to find was correct, right?
I am out here for you. You don't know what it's like to be me out here for you. It is an up at dawn, pride-swallowing siege that I will never fully tell you about, okay?
So the jury wasn't asked to read out portions of the statute. The
Again, I go
jury
back-
was correctly instructed. So I guess I'm trying to figure out. You're saying that the evidence didn't support the elements that were correctly instructed to the jury.
What I am saying,
God, help me. Help me. Help you. Help me. Help you. Help me. Help you.
So I guess I'm trying to figure out. You're saying that the evidence didn't support the elements that were correctly instructed to the jury.
my name is Jennifer Bonjean and I represent Rkelly.
Judge Sullivan came back to the jury instructions 3 separate times. 3 times he asked her, "Are you challenging the jury instructions?"
Like every RICO indictment seemingly in history, the government charged the defendant with being the member of an enterprise that had a common purpose of carrying out an illegal or illicit activity.
Well, I guess I'm trying to understand. Are you challenging the jury instruction, which didn't say that the RICO enterprise had to have an illegal purpose?
No, Your Honor, I'm not challenging the jury instruction, nor could the jury instruction be challenged. The jury instruction is entirely consistent with United States versus Boyle. In fact, it's almost word for word the same jury instruction.
I guess, A, what's the authority for that? And B, isn't that really a challenge to the jury instruction?
I don't believe it is. I think that...
But did the district court tell the jury that they had to find an illegal purpose so there could be no enterprise?
No, but the indictment did, and the indictment was incorporated.
No, the indictment listed a series of purposes.
Yes, series of purposes pled in the conjunctive.
God, help me. Help me. Help you. Help me. Help you. Help me. Help you.
Yes, I'm asking a basic question to start, which is that if the government had just listed the legal purposes, your view is that that would not be sufficient for a RICO indictment?
No, in fact, district courts routinely dismiss complaints that do not demonstrate that the purpose of the common or the enterprise is illegal in nature. In fact, neither party's been...
I am out here for you. You don't know what it's like to be me out here for you. It is an up at dawn, pride-swallowing siege that I will never fully tell you about, okay?
You're not challenging the jury instruction, so you're agreeing that everything the district court told the jury they needed to find was correct, right?
Your Honor, the jury instructions were consistent with every jury instruction ever given in a RICO case, historically. And frankly, is consistent with what the United States Supreme Court held in Boyle.
Right.
I don't know how...
So the jury wasn't asked to read out portions of the statute. The
Again, I go
jury
back-
was correctly instructed. So I guess I'm trying to figure out. You're saying that the evidence didn't support the elements that were correctly instructed to the jury.
What I'm saying, Your Honor, is that the government had an obligation, and in fact, the jury was instructed that the government had to prove the theory of the enterprise. The theory of the enterprise included criminal conduct that was pled in the conjunctive. And if it had been just simply legal activity pled in that indictment, it would have been dismissed.
Appellate Judge Sullivan is stating very clearly 3 different times, if you're saying this isn't RICO, why aren't you challenging the jury instructions? And it was already preserved on the record by Farinella that the jury instructions were challenged. So had she referred to that, we challenged it in front of Ann Donnelly. I'm challenging it here. He was giving her the win.
And we're not quarreling with that. But you can't just have an organization that is not associated with any crime. Simply speaking, a RICO enterprise is a criminal organization. You can define it broadly, but is not an organization simply with a criminal.
The jury based their decisions on the evidence that they heard, the witnesses that they heard, and the instructions that they were given. If you're saying this is not a RICO case, common sense says you need to challenge some part of what the jurors ruled on, either the witnesses, the evidence, or the instructions. He wanted her to challenge jury instruction. If you say this is not a RICO case and they were given RICO instructions, you have to challenge jury instructions. She had government testimony in their cross-examination of Julius Darrington, where they were telling an employee of Rkelly they can't possibly know what's going on because they're not participating with Mr. Kelly. He wanted her to challenge the jury instructions. He knows if you're saying this is not a RICO case and they were given instructions for a RICO case, you must challenge the jury instructions. You challenge the evidence, you challenge the witnesses, and you challenge jury instructions if you're saying this is not RICO. He is not guilty of RICO. You challenge everything that the jury was dealt with. Witnesses, evidence, and the instructions they were given, all that were pointing to RICO. He gave her 7 minutes. He brought it up the first time. She said, no, I'm not challenging it. He brought it up a second time. No, I'm not challenging it. He brought it up a third time because he knew you can't say this isn't RICO and not challenge RICO instructions to the jury. Ineffective assistance of counsel.
This road all the way down, you're going to take a sharp left, okay, up here, past this tree here, okay? Once you get up here, you're going to take another sharp turn. And over here, this is where you have me fucked up at. Right here in this place.
But in the game, I'm wiping the field with them to the point where they don't even compete anymore. This is the Rkelly 2024.